We are back! And oh my gosh, this movie was intense. Hey guys, welcome back to the CharmingAnalysis podcast. It's been a little bit, but we decided to take a 2-week break for those who didn't know and who didn't see our last Halloween.
Not really, because I just kind of pressured to go back into watching shit.
Well, I didn't pressure you to go back into watching shit. You wanted to show me some stuff. And you showed me this movie, the other day.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, we're kind of back from our 2-week hiatus, and we're going to be doing a couple random videos this month, and then we'll be starting the Christmas podcast next month.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're just going to do a couple this month because we're both kind of busy, and the holidays are coming up and stuff like that. So, we're going to do what we can to get a couple done this month and just start doing the Christmas ones for you guys. Start prepping them and stuff because it's going to be a lot to do. So let's just dive right in. So today's podcast is going to be about a movie called Whiplash. And this is probably one of the most intense movies I have ever fucking seen in my life. And I don't know why. It's just a lot happens in this movie. A lot. And there's a lot of very intense moments. Just this movie just shows intensity to one of the highest levels possible, in my personal opinion. But I'll say a couple things, then I'll let Jay take over because Jay loves this movie. So I've never seen this movie before now. And I've only seen one clip of it, and it kind of made me a little bit nervous to watch the movie at the time. So I was just like, well, I'll just wait till my bean comes up here. And then Jay, the other night, after we watched 2 other movies, was just like, hey, let's watch this. And I'm like, you sure? He's like, trust me, you'll like it. And I'm like, okay.
I like it.
Yeah, so yeah, this is why this has taken us this long to do a podcast on this, just because this movie's very intense. If be prepared for a lot of fucked up shit to happen, if I'm being honest with you. Not like Final Destination fucked up, but more why is this even happening kind of fucked up.
It's mentally abusive fucked up.
Yeah, it's that kind of fucked up.
I keep yawning. What the fuck?
What?
Keep yawning.
It's okay. It's cause it's still kind of morning for us, even though it's noon right now, because we got up late. Anyway, so I'm gonna let you take over, Jay. So I guess you talk about what first got you to watch this movie, and because this is the second time you've seen it, right? So I guess talk about your first experience with it, and then talk about it watching with me. And let's go from there. So what is Whiplash about? Can you give a synopsis?
Yes, it is about... The main point is just about Miles Teller wants to be a drummer, J.K. Simmons is a teacher, and J.K. Simmons abuses the fuck out of Miles Teller for 2 hours. That's pretty much what the whole movie is.
It's basically about a kid who's in college just trying to be a drummer. He's just trying to work really hard to do it, but a lot of stuff keeps holding him back. And this teacher, oh my gosh. I've never seen a teacher this intense in my life. I've had some crazy teachers in college and high school and stuff, but this one's this takes the cake for me, in my opinion. This takes the cake for me.
Not a teacher you actually know.
I know, but still, in general and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So I guess, what was your experience the first time with this movie?
Well, I was watching a lot of Oscar movies back in 2013 because a lot of them were coming out. That year was just full of fucking good movies, and I watched this one. I think it's 2014 this came out, so it was that phase where I was watching a whole lot of Oscar movies and critically acclaimed movies. I Oh my god, I can't sound professional.
It's okay. Just take your time, honey. We do it
but
for
I
fun,
was
you know?
I was watching most of them on Rainerland, and I just like this just happened to be one of those ones to where I just sat down and watched it because it was critically acclaimed, and I enjoyed watching. I enjoyed watching it, and I don't know. Like, back in the day, I found it, as the most, intense viewing.
Of a movie you've ever seen?
Yeah, besides 2 other movies that I watched.
But this is probably... Okay, if you had to rank this one as the most intense, is this the most intense, or what would you rate this one to be? How intense? Like, from 1 to 3, how intense? 1 being the lowest, 3 being the highest.
Probably a 7.
No. I mean, intensity-wise, not, rating-wise.
Yeah, a 7.
You give it a 7?
Yeah.
For, intensity?
Intensity.
Okay,
because
so...
it's not the most tense movie I've ever seen, but...
It's up there.
It's up there. I think it just kind of lessened, and I just kind of, on this viewing, I just kind of, just paid more attention to the music and the acting.
And the details that you missed at the first time?
Uh-huh.
So, okay. So this one, so I guess compared to the second... Okay, so from this time compared to the first time, what are some things you noticed differently that you didn't notice the first time you watched it, that you somehow noticed the second time? If you don't mind me asking.
How fucking good J.K. Simmons' character is written.
Yeah.
Honestly, the way that he just fucks with him is honestly some of the back just the best back and forth that I've probably seen in an internal character. 'Cause it's 1 minute he could be talking to him what does your father and what does your mom do? And then all of a sudden, during rehearsal, he's just oh, no wonder your fucking mother left you a pathetic sack of shit. I'm
that kind of threw me for a loop, because I was okay, this is not that bad. And as soon as that scene came up, I was honey, why are we watching this? Are you sure you're okay watching this?
Yeah.
Because I didn't know I didn't know if this was going to freak you out again or anything. I just didn't know if this was going to freak you out. That was the thing I was kind of worried about when we were watching Whiplash. Because I know you said it was really intense and stuff
It freaked me out the first time. Now it doesn't really freak me out.
I just didn't want it to freak you out again, that's all.
Because I find it brilliant.
Also, don't forget your sandwich.
I mean, if I met a person like J.K. Simmons in real life, I would flip my shit, but,
Yeah. Okay, so I guess another thing we should, talk about. I'm just gonna give you guys a heads up with this. There is blood in this. It's not, really gory, but there is blood in this movie.
Eat blood.
This is one of those, movies to where this kid literally worked so hard, his hands started bleeding. That's how intense this movie gets. He gets to the point where he's literally drumming so hard, he's bleeding. And it's this kid is literally pushing himself to the limit. How old is he in this? Do you happen to know how old he is?
In his 20s. That's all it could be.
Early 20s? Mm-hmm. Okay, so he's around, kind of in our age range kind of thing. So I guess something I want to ask you about it is, what about his character? Okay, so I guess, why don't you describe kind of what this movie does, in a sense? What kinds of stuff did this movie do that surprised you in a way, I guess?
I think it talks about legacy and how far you're willing to go in a very realistic sense of the matter. Especially when you're just doing it as something you want to follow as a career or something you really want to pursue, and letting that wanting to consume your whole life and to the point of where you're gonna, like, you know, take the advice of people who probably aren't the best at teaching, like, said student. And I think just the way, like, he set up, you established him already as somebody who, his career path is not like, you know,
the traditional career path.
It's not the traditional career path. And everybody's just like, you know, everybody's just like okay with it. Like, nobody's impressed by it or anything, and that's what gets him really pissed off and mad. Because
and that's because like the parents have like kids that are like on like the football team or like that are academically, you know, good and stuff like that, while he's just the drummer kid and just wants to be a musician in a sense, kind of thing. And even though that's still a good career path in a sense, there's just some people that just don't understand that, like, there's all kinds of careers out there. Why do you think there's musicians out there? They have to start somewhere. Why do you think there's artists out there? They have to all start somewhere. And sometimes their passions are what they want to do. It's what they want to be and, like, have a job in. And I can understand that, especially from, like, you know, in a sense, a lot of legends have died, like, in the last, like, 10 plus years. And so some people just want to continue, like, the legacy of, like, how, you know, good stuff is. Like, I can think of a couple examples. Like, one of them I can definitely think of is Robin Williams. Like, he left a huge impact on a lot of, like, voice acting, a lot of animation, and just stuff like that in general. Like, he left a huge legacy for a lot of people. And a lot of people are inspired by him. And a lot of people wish he was still around today and stuff like that. Like, he's a big person that left a huge legacy. Another one, who was the guy that played Black Panther again? What was his name?
Chadwick Boseman.
And also another one is Chow McBowman. Is that how you say it? I don't know how to say it. I'm sorry. Like, how do you say his name?
Chadwick Boseman.
Chadwick Boseman. I'm sorry, my pronunciation is bad. Another one is Chadwick Boseman. So he played Black Panther and stuff, and he's one of the more recent people that passed away. I think like last year, right?
This year.
Oh, wait, he did this year? I thought it was last year.
It's this year.
Okay. But he passed away and stuff, and I don't know much about his character personally, but I know a lot of people who really loved him in Black Panther, and
I liked him in Black Panther. So and he's like, he does more than Black Panther, though. He was
really
more
did.
Than Black Panther. He was a damn fucking good actor. But I
also like.
We're just gonna
like
keep going on about dead actors.
Yeah, but this is probably the last one I'll do at the moment. But he also did a lot of activism work, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And stuff like that. And he left a legacy, not in, like, the movie industry, but, like, in other industries kind of thing.
He left a legacy for Black people, too. One star in their own roles.
Yeah, so he started a legacy in film a bit, but also in his activism work. I think the activism work is, a little bit more, like, known, I think, but I'm not sure specifics, because I don't know him that well. So the idea that the movie wants people to, like, do what they want to do, but they also want them to, like, keep a legacy. I can understand that in a sense.
But this is the more extreme
part. But this is a little bit too extreme personally for my liking of how it should go. I understand stuff's going to be hard. Like, you're not going to get stuff on a silver spoon.
It's not the fact that, they're going to show you this because it makes you feel uncomfortable. They're going to show this because this actually happens
to some
in a competitive field.
To some people. Not everybody, but, like, some people. Right?
This happens in competitive fields when, like, you know, people are just, like, either students who want to be recognized as, like, you know, independents, and teachers who want to be recognized also as independents. Yeah. And I think, like, it says a lot about... I just think that it says a lot about how people can push other people away just to pursue something like that. Like, you don't see the student pushing people away. You see the teacher also pushing people away even when he's talking about, like, you know...
Like, talking to, like, this girl he was going to try and go out. That threw me for a loop. Because it looked like he wanted to go out with her, then all of a sudden he's just like, I want to break it off with you. It's like, what happened between point A and B? Like, that kind of threw me off. And I was like, did I miss something? Like, what? I thought he liked her. That threw me for a fucking loop. I don't know why that specific scene did, but I was just so confused.
I don't know. I think that's, like, one of those things to where he was feeling, every time he gets, like, confident to do something, every time he, like, he thinks he's doing good and is, like, in his rehearsals, he, like, feels confident enough to, like, you know, want to go do other things that are out of his comfort zone. And then when he actually, like, gets into it, he doesn't feel like it's worth his time. Like, he feels like, oh, I could be doing something else other than being with this person. I could be honing my craft. Like, because that's what it is. He wants to be the best. He wants to be the best drummer in the fucking world.
Well, not the world, but, like, he wants to leave, like, a legacy, like a lot of famous people have. And stuff like that.
And just the way that he, like, gets beaten down and the way it manifests into him actually being angry at himself and his teacher. And he's just like, he's just like saying, like, you know, to the point of where he's talking back to J.K. Simmons, and he's just like, fuck you, you like, you know, you piece of shit, like, you know, you can't recognize me for my talents. And he's like, you know, I'll earn the part. Like, why are you giving the part to this guy? Like, there's some form of toxicity with him, too.
Yeah,
and it's not just, like, I like the fact that you get to show him that, and yet he just doesn't play, like, you know, he is a victim of J.K. Simmons, but he's, like...
Also, like...
He's also forming his own
toxic environment
around himself as well, and I'm happy that we get to see something like that form. I don't know why, but I like characters that, like, progressively, in a natural sense, just kind of turn into their own toxicity while still playing a person who is looked down upon in society. I like that. It's not the forming of a villain. It's just the forming of somebody
like an anti-hero, or
no. It's the forming of somebody who's just consumed with their own purpose in life.
Yeah.
And I like that it shows that. I think it would have been really fucking boring if he just played the underdog story very straight. If he, like, you know, went home and, like, you know, was, like, you know, crying all the time and, like, you know, saying,
being depressed.
Like, being depressed and everything. And
the way this movie took that is a lot more intense than what I've seen in other movies, but it's also a good direction.
Yeah, it's a lot more better.
It's in a good direction, but it's still very intense to watch.
It is.
If I'm gonna be honest with you, like,
what was the most intense scene for you?
Because
I was sitting right next to you, and you. Fun fact about Maury: they don't really have much reaction whenever they're looking at movies. They kind of look at you. Kind of look at the screen, kind of blank, and it's hard for me to read your reaction.
That's because, like, I'm trying to analyze the movie and stuff, so that way when we do the podcast for the movies, I know what to kind of, like, bring up and talk about instead of, like, doing other things. I'm trying to analyze the movie in a sense to see what direction it's going in and how, you know, how I should, like, I guess, talk about it, because I want to make sure I'm saying the right stuff. I want to make sure I have the right facts, and I want to make sure that I'm doing it as best I can, because you're not going to like every single movie you watch. Let's be real. Every single movie we watch, we're probably not going to like it. So you kind of have to either decide, are you going to like it or are you not going to like it? And you kind of have to figure out, are you going to talk about it in a good way or a bad way kind of thing?
I don't really watch movies, like, based on, like, word of mouth. That's pretty much
Mine kind of depends.
Whether or not it wastes my time or not.
Well, some of them I like to do because I get drawn to, like, a bunch of different stuff, like character designs and stuff like that, and just the way that
More animation than live action.
Yeah, personally for me, I get more into more animation than live action, even though there's a couple live action here and there that I actually do like. But I'm more for animation and stuff personally, but that's just me. But
so was this like an off movie to you? Like you were actually watching a intense drama?
Yes, this was one of the more intense movies I've seen. Honestly, live action wise. And in general, this is probably one of the most intense movies I've seen. But I like
showing this to people because I just like it's just like one of those things to where I love watching it, even if it brings like a sense of
dread
because I'm just like, God, it's just such an interesting take on something like this.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it before, and I haven't really seen it since, so...
Yeah, so...
Well, maybe because I just don't watch live action as much as I should, and I should watch more live action movies, but...
We're trying to, like, watch a couple different things at the moment. Like, for fun and for, like, actually doing podcasts on kind of thing.
But wait, you didn't answer the question.
I was about to get back to it.
Yeah, what was
Going back to the question about the most intense scene, it's literally for me a tie between him actually bleeding for the first time when he was playing the drums and the car accident scene like near the end of the movie. Like the fact that everyone was literally so pissed off that he forgot his drumsticks and stuff like that. He had to literally go back to the thing, and then he on his way back to the rehearsal hall, he gets hit by a big-ass truck and gets into an accident. And he's still trying to do the drums with him being in such bad shape. Like, he was bleeding from his head. He had blood all over his hands. And he was so exhausted that literally, like...
He had a concussion.
He had a concussion and stuff like that. So he was, like, very incoherent when it came to, like, his speech and stuff like that. But he still went up there and did it. That kid must have some big-ass balls to fucking do that after having an accident like that. Like, it was an intense one. It was a big-ass truck. It hit him and his car flipped over. And you see the car accident happen on screen. You see everything that happened with it. And it's like... He still went to the rehearsal hall. He didn't stop. He still went. And I think if I had to really pick between the two, that was probably the most intense scene in the whole fucking movie. And the fact that his dad got so worried about him that this teacher's basically abusing him in a way. Mm-hmm. It just, like, is sad in a sense. Yeah. But at the same time, I understand they're trying to have, like, a legacy. They're trying to build a legacy and stuff like that. But... do I feel like it's a very intense way to do it? Yes. Do I think it was a good representation? Yes. Because not everyone's experiences are going to be differently. Some are going to be more intense than others. Some of them are going to be a little bit easier than others. But I still feel like this is one of the better movies that explains the intenser way of how a legacy can be formed. In a sense. Mm-hmm. Is my opinion. But everyone has different experiences. So this is probably this kid's experience. Is this based on, like, a true story, or is this, like...
I have no idea.
I kind of hope this is.
It's channeled by a lot of people who feel that way.
Okay, because if this is actually based off a true story, then I can kind of see that. Because I feel like someone literally made this based on their life. It feels so much like... It
feels like someone's life.
Yeah, it really does. Okay, since we've been, like... Oh, sorry.
I'll tell you the thing that impacted me the most.
And then we'll kind of give a rating and stuff.
It happens in the end.
What was it?
It was the moment where he gives him another chance, and he's allowed to perform at this, like, big auditorium. This happens at the end, so whatever, spoilers.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of spoilers in this anyway.
I don't give a shit. So he's just performing, and he's like, he thinks that he's, like, at it again. He thinks that, this time will be different. And then he comes up, and then J.K. Simmons comes up to him, and it's like, I know it was you. I know it was you who reported me. And don't think I'm gonna forget about that shit.
Did he actually say that, or I don't think...
Like, he did. It's like, I know it was you.
Well, it was obvious.
I knew it was you. And then he proceeds to fuck with him even more by playing a song that he doesn't even... playing a song that he doesn't know. He doesn't have his, like, notes for... And he's...
That was a dick move that he did. To me, that was a dick move.
And he embarrasses him in front of, like, this whole, like, you know, professional, like, you know, scene. Yeah. To where I'm sure, like, you know...
Everyone was pretty much watching.
Everyone was watching.
Also, can we please both agree that moment was when J.K. Simmons had true fucking dick energy. That's the worst dick energy to have. Like, he was a total dick to this kid. You have to agree
He was a dick to this kid, but I'm sure was a dick to, like, literally everyone else that...
This makes me wonder, like, how... Okay, I will say this, and then we should try and give our ratings and stuff.
Okay.
But how did none of the other students get affected by this? Were they so used to this shit?
They were probably scared of the shit out... They probably were scared of him.
Because, like, that, I know that one kid definitely was at the beginning. I know he was. But half of these other people, like, literally weren't even phased at all for, like, some of this shit.
Well, they had to be, like, you know...
Hard as rock. Mm-hmm. And most of them were, like, men. There was, like, no women, like, people, except that one girl. That's literally the only girl in the entire movie. Mm-hmm. And the what was her name? The lawyer lady. They were the only two women in this movie. Everyone else was a man. I noticed that just now. Like, that was the one thing I noticed.
I mean, you could say that is just how the industry is. They want to hire more men.
I know, but still, the only thing I wish they could have had, like, maybe a couple more women in the movie, but that's it. It's not a big complaint, but I just thought it would have been nice to have at least one in there, just to show, like, the women can also handle this as much as the men can.
I mean, that doesn't really bother me because that's not the fucking point of the movie.
It doesn't bother me either, but that's just something I noticed. You know what I mean? Like, you ever have that one thing you just notice?
Well, he's just a, like, you know, J.K. Simmons is just, like, a really, you know, what he plays is, because I love both Miles Teller and J.K. Simmons acting. I think it's, like, some of the best performances of their probably whole entire career.
It was really good. Like, I will admit that. Like, this movie is good. Like, we'll say this and then we'll give our ratings, but if you guys are gonna watch this movie, I'm gonna say this now. It gets intense. If you can handle harsh intensity, mental abuse in movies and stuff like that, and a little bit of blood here and there, then you guys may enjoy this movie.
Which most people can, but...
Yeah, but most people... Then you probably would enjoy this movie. But just a warning, this does get intense. So if you get triggered by, like, yelling and stuff like that, like I do, and stuff like that...
So did this movie trigger you?
Not as bad. A little bit, but not as bad as, like, in real life. I know it's a movie, so that's another reason why it didn't trigger me as bad.
Yeah.
But some people get triggered more than... at some things more than others.
And you wonder when the cameras were rolling, when J.K. Simmons, like, you know, when they had to, like, stop their act. Like, if you wonder, like, if J.K.
How many takes did it take him to do this shit? Is kind of thing that...
J.K. Simmons can channel anger really well into his
He really does. So. That's the one thing I was also surprised at,
He has the face for it. He has the built strength for it.
Yeah. So... basically, if you guys are going to watch this movie, be prepared for a lot of intensity, a lot of yelling, a lot of, like, rude comments from these two people going back and forth. If you don't like arguing and stuff like that, you're probably going to hate this movie. There's a lot of arguing.
Hateful slurs.
That, too. So, if you're going to also be affected by that, then try and skip this movie. That's not the thing for you, but... I guess let's give our ratings for this. So,
wait, one more question.
What?
What you think of the music, which is like a big fucking...
The music I actually did enjoy. I did enjoy the music for this movie. I just wish that, I kind of wish it wasn't as intense as it was, but I'm not really complaining. I'm just saying, they could have brought it down like a notch or two, in my opinion. But that's it.
It's an orchestra.
No, not for the music. I mean, just like the intensity of like the arguing, not the music, just the intensity of the arguing. I feel like that could have been brought down like a couple notches for me.
I think that's
me.
Well, I think if you're gonna pick an intensity of music,
this is the movie you have to pick.
Well, I think the music matches with how intense the film is, because that's pretty much what. That I could go into a whole section about like how like, you know, how perfectly the music choice fits this movie so well. But I will probably do it on a later date. I have so many fucking projects that I like would like to work on, analyzing and discussing movies and film, but it's just that requires a lot of research, and I'm pretty sure for this movie it requires a lot of in-depth look at music theory.
Yeah, but that's something we really don't have time for, sadly.
Yes.
Maybe one day if you guys want to see us do more of an in-depth analysis on it, we won't mind if you want.
These podcasts are more like formal thoughts.
Formal thoughts and like fun stuff. Just kind of us talking
and
about
us
it.
Yawning into the fucking microphone.
Yeah, but it's mainly just us like talking about it to see, like to introduce people to new stuff. 2 is to be able to like say our opinions on it. And 3 is to just give you guys some kind of entertainment, because sometimes you kind of need something to listen to when you're like doing stuff, and we want to make these like podcasts that way you guys can listen to it while you're like doing stuff, so that way you don't have to look at the screen. You can look at like the thumbnails I make and stuff, which by the way, I do make the thumbnails for these videos. I do make them. Jay also does art too, but
that's not good enough.
No, it is good enough. But he has. I don't know if you want to do thumbnails for the podcast.
I don't know.
It's up to you. Like you don't have to.
Don't know.
But yeah, like something we do plan on doing. We eventually are going to do some sketchbook tours and stuff like that for the channel. Not for like the podcast, but just like to give you guys some other content and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But because I'm still working on mine, but Jay wouldn't mind showing him, like, you guys his, right, honey? Mm-hmm. So if you guys are interested in that, please let us know, because I'm definitely doing a sketchbook tour once I'm done mine, but Jay's probably we're probably gonna see if Jay wants to do one, because his is a little bit different than most people's, like sketchbooks in a sense. But anyway,
it's not a sketchbook; it's a binder.
You get what I mean, okay? You can explain that in your video. Anyway, let's give our final thoughts before we give our rating. Do you have anything to say about it? Because I'm pretty much done.
I just didn't. I enjoy watching this movie, and I don't know why I enjoy it, but
because that's what I was surprised at. Because you don't like yelling either, so I was like surprised you actually liked this movie. I was like, what?
Because the performances are just that amazing.
Yeah.
If the performances weren't that amazing, I wouldn't probably like handled it as good or as well, but it really does, and it says something to somebody out there.
Yeah,
someone is experiencing the exact same thing.
Yeah,
and that's why, and it's just played in such a realistic manner that I just think it's like important.
Really does.
It's important for it to exist, and I think it's a good watch. Like, you know, not just for entertainment value, but like just for people who just might have already experienced something like this in their life.
Yeah,
and
it gives someone like something to look at and be like, hey,
closure.
I've been through this shit. Now I'm not the only one, kind of thing.
Yeah,
it gives you something to relate to.
Even if it's just like, you know, just played for like people to get like, you know, awards, which I don't care regardless, but
yeah,
this is just one of those perfect movies. I don't think I would barely change anything about it.
Honestly, yeah, like I don't see much change in it personally, besides I think lowering the intensity of the arguing down a little bit, but other than that, it's a good movie.
Yeah, I give it like a 10 out of 10.
You give it a 10 out of 10?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. For me, I probably give it a 9 out of 10, actually. Like, I still think the movie is great. It's a good watch, but I don't feel like this movie's for everybody, is the thing. Like, if you do have a chance to go see this movie, I do recommend trying to go see it, but but I don't think it's gonna be for everybody, because there's gonna be some things in here that are gonna trigger people. I guarantee you right now, there's going to be some shit in this movie that is going to trigger people. So if you have thick skin and can be able to handle like insults, slurs, and shit like that, then you should be fine. But if you can't, then I don't think this is the movie for you. But that's just me. If you guys want to try it, go for it. But I'm just giving you a heads up in case you're going to be like, well, what? This movie was so intense. And I'm like, I told you it was intense. Why do you think we're doing this? Like,
I didn't tell you that beforehand.
You told me like a long time ago.
A long time ago that this movie was intense.
But yeah, that is it for our podcast on Whiplash. We've made pretty good time with this one. I'm surprised.
Yeah.
So yeah.
We'll see you in the next movie, whatever we plan to do.
Yeah. I'm Mari.
I'm Jay.
And we're out.